Question 1. During the execution phase of a traditional project, the project team identifies a defect in a recently delivered component that needs immediate repair. The project manager understands the urgency but also recognizes the need for proper procedure. What is the most appropriate next step? A. Instruct the team to proceed with the defect repair immediately to avoid delays. B. Issue a change request to formally document the defect and propose a solution. C. Escalate the issue directly to the sponsor for a quick decision. D. Revise the project plan to incorporate the repair work without formal approval. Answer: B. Issue a change request to formally document the defect and propose a solution. The most appropriate step is to issue a formal change request to document the defect, analyze its impact, and propose a solution. Even for urgent issues like defect repair, all changes to a project's baselines or planned performance should go through the integrated change control process to ensure they are properly evaluated, approved, and recorded. This prevents unauthorized changes and maintains project integrity by ensuring the change control board or designated authority reviews the proposed solution. Always remember that formal documentation and approval are key for managing project changes, even when dealing with issues that seem straightforward. Question 2. A project team working in an Agile environment discovers a new, critical user story during a sprint. The product owner believes this story is essential for the product's next increment but acknowledges it might impact the current sprint goal. What is the typical Agile approach to incorporate this new requirement? A. Add the user story to the current sprint backlog immediately and adjust other stories. B. Halt the current sprint and replan with the new user story. C. Defer the user story to the product backlog for prioritization in a future sprint. D. Request a formal change control board meeting to approve the new user story. Answer: C. Defer the user story to the product backlog for prioritization in a future sprint. In Agile environments, changes are welcomed throughout the project lifecycle, but managing them within a sprint is specific. The most common and recommended approach for a new, critical user story identified during a sprint is to add it to the product backlog. This allows the product owner to prioritize it against all other existing items, ensuring it is properly evaluated and pulled into a future sprint based on its value and team capacity, thereby protecting the current sprint's goal and stability. Adding items mid-sprint can destabilize the team's focus and commitment, so prioritizing it for a later iteration is the usual flexible yet disciplined Agile way to manage new requirements. Question 3. During the Manage Project Changes process, what is the primary purpose of the Change Control Board, CCB? A. To execute the approved changes within the project. B. To analyze and approve or reject change requests. C. To communicate all project changes to stakeholders. D. To document the lessons learned from change management. Answer: B. To analyze and approve or reject change requests. The primary purpose of the Change Control Board, CCB, is to review, evaluate, approve, defer, or reject change requests that impact project baselines or significant aspects of the project. The CCB ensures that all proposed changes are considered holistically, understanding their impact on scope, schedule, cost, quality, and risk before a decision is made. This formal body provides governance over the project changes, preventing unauthorized alterations and maintaining the integrity of the project's approved plan. Always remember that the CCB acts as the decision-making authority for formal changes, not the executor or communicator. Question 4. A project manager receives a change request from a key stakeholder to add significant new features to the product. Before submitting it to the Change Control Board, what is the project manager's crucial responsibility? A. Immediately inform the project sponsor about the request. B. Update the project management plan to reflect the requested changes. C. Conduct an impact analysis on the project's baselines, risks, and resources. D. Reject the change request as it will cause scope creep. Answer: C. Conduct an impact analysis on the project's baselines, risks, and resources. Before any change request is submitted to the Change Control Board, CCB, the project manager has a crucial responsibility to perform a thorough impact analysis. This analysis involves assessing how the proposed change will affect all aspects of the project, including its scope, schedule, cost, quality, resources, and risks. Understanding these impacts allows the CCB to make an informed decision based on a comprehensive understanding of the implications, rather than just the stated request itself. Always analyze the full implications of a change before presenting it for approval. Question 5. In a hybrid project approach, combining traditional planning with agile execution, a stakeholder proposes a major change that affects the foundational architecture of the product. How should this change typically be managed? A. Implement the change immediately in the next Agile sprint. B. Capture the change as a user story in the product backlog for the next iteration. C. Submit a formal change request to the Change Control Board for review and approval. D. Negotiate directly with the development team to incorporate the architectural changes. Answer: C. Submit a formal change request to the Change Control Board for review and approval. In a hybrid project, changes impacting foundational aspects like architectural design are typically handled through a formal change control process, even if execution is agile. While Agile embraces change, significant, fundamental alterations that affect agreed-upon baselines often require the structured review and approval of a Change Control Board, CCB. This approach ensures that such substantial changes are thoroughly analyzed for their widespread impact across the project, including potential effects on long-term strategy, budget, and overall project viability, maintaining governance for critical components. For large-scale or foundational changes in a hybrid model, don't bypass the formal approval process. Question 6. The project team has just implemented an approved change request that involved a significant update to a software module. What is the necessary next step according to the integrated change control process? A. Close out the project as the change is implemented. B. Document the new lessons learned about managing software changes. C. Update the relevant project documents and baselines, and communicate the change. D. Initiate the next change request in the queue. Answer: C. Update the relevant project documents and baselines, and communicate the change. Once a change request has been approved and implemented, it is crucial to update all affected project documents and baselines, such as the scope baseline, schedule baseline, and cost baseline, to reflect the new approved reality. Equally important is to communicate these updates to all relevant stakeholders to ensure everyone is working with the most current project information. This step ensures that the project plan remains accurate and that everyone is aligned on the project's direction following the change. Remember that implementation isn't the end of the change process. Documentation and communication are vital follow-up steps. Question 7. A project manager discovers that a project team member has implemented a small change to a product feature without following the established change control process. What should the project manager do first? A. Immediately reverse the change and reprimand the team member. B. Document the change as a defect and assign it for review. C. Assess the impact of the implemented change and then raise a retrospective change request. D. Ignore the change if it improves the product. Answer: C. Assess the impact of the implemented change and then raise a retrospective change request. When an unauthorized change occurs, the project manager's first priority is to assess its impact on the project objectives, baselines, and overall integrity. While the change was unauthorized, simply reversing it might not be the best solution if it provides value or fixes a problem. The most professional approach is to analyze what has been done, understand its implications, and then submit a change request retroactively for formal review and approval, bringing the change into compliance with the established process. This ensures that even unapproved changes are eventually documented and formally recognized, maintaining control. Question 8. What is the primary purpose of a change log in project management? A. To list all project risks. B. To record all approved and unapproved change requests and their status. C. To track issues raised by stakeholders. D. To document communication plans. Answer: B. To record all approved and unapproved change requests and their status. The primary purpose of a change log is to maintain a comprehensive record of all change requests throughout the project lifecycle, regardless of their approval status. This log includes details such as the request identification number, date of submission, description of the change, its impact analysis, current status, example pending, approved, rejected, and the date of decision. Maintaining a change log is vital for auditing, accountability, and ensuring that no change requests are overlooked, providing a clear history of how the project's scope evolved. Think of the change log as the definitive history book for all project changes. Question 9. In an Agile project, the team often incorporates changes into the product backlog. When does the team typically decide which of these changes will be worked on next? A. At the beginning of every quarter. B. During the daily stand-up meeting. C. During sprint planning. D. Only when a formal change request is approved by the stakeholders. Answer: C. During sprint planning. In Agile methodologies, the team collaboratively decides which prioritized items from the product backlog, which can include new requirements or changes, will be worked on during sprint planning. At the beginning of each sprint, the development team, with input from the product owner, selects a subset of items from the prioritized product backlog that they commit to completing within the upcoming sprint. This allows for continuous integration of changes based on evolving understanding and stakeholder feedback, without needing a formal, separate change control board for every small adjustment. Remember, sprint planning is where backlog items become sprint commitments. Question 10. A project is halfway through execution when a stakeholder proposes a significant change that would extend the project duration by 2 months. The project manager identifies that this extension will cause the project to miss a critical market window. What is the most likely recommendation the project manager will present to the change control board? A. Approve the change, as stakeholder satisfaction is paramount. B. Reject the change, as missing the market window is unacceptable. C. Recommend approving the change only if the market window is redefined. D. Propose a partial implementation of the change, or explore alternatives that don't jeopardize the market window. Answer: D. Propose a partial implementation of the change, or explore alternatives that don't jeopardize the market window. When faced with a change request that directly conflicts with a critical project objective, such as meeting a market window, the project manager should not simply approve or reject it outright. Instead, the project manager's role is to conduct a thorough impact analysis and then present viable options to the Change Control Board, CCB. Proposing alternatives like a partial implementation or exploring other solutions that meet the stakeholders' need without compromising the critical deadline demonstrates proactive problem-solving and aims to find a balanced approach that satisfies both the stakeholders' request and the project's strategic goals. Always seek creative solutions that balance conflicting objectives. Question 11. Which of the following is an output of the integrated change control process? A. Change requests. B. Project management plan. C. Approve change requests. D. Performance reports. Answer: C. Approve change requests. Approve change requests are a key output of the integrated change control process. After change requests are submitted, analyzed for impact, and reviewed by the Change Control Board, CCB, or designated authority, those that are accepted become approved change requests. These approved requests authorize modifications to project baselines, documents, or other aspects of the project, signaling that they can now be implemented by the project team. Understanding that approved changes are the outcome of this formal process helps clarify how project plans and baselines legitimately evolve. Question 12. During the Direct and Manage Project Work process, the team identifies a deviation from the Performance Measurement Baseline, PMB. What type of change request would most likely be issued to bring the future performance back in line with the PMB? A. Defect repair. B. Corrective action. C. Preventive action. D. Scope change. Answer: B. Corrective action. A corrective action is a type of change request that is issued to bring future project performance back in line with the Performance Measurement Baseline, PMB, when a deviation is identified. It aims to address a current variance or problem so that planned performance can be achieved going forward. For instance, if costs are running higher than planned, a corrective action might be taken to reduce spending in future activities to align with the budget. Think of corrective actions as course corrections during the project journey. Question 13. A change request is submitted to extend the project schedule due to unforeseen delays. The Change Control Board rejects the request. What is the next logical step for the project manager? A. Implement the schedule extension anyway, as it is necessary. B. Resubmit the change request with more justification. C. Update the change log with the rejection status and communicate the decision. D. Revise the project management plan to reflect the rejection. Answer: C. Update the change log with the rejection status and communicate the decision. When a change request is rejected by the Change Control Board, CCB, the project manager's immediate responsibility is to update the change log to reflect the rejection status and communicate this decision to all relevant stakeholders. This ensures transparency, keeps all records current, and informs those who might be impacted by the decision. While resubmitting with more justification might be an option later, the formal process requires documenting the outcome and disseminating it first. It's crucial to document every decision, whether approval or rejection, to maintain control and provide a clear audit trail. Question 14. Which document primarily defines the process for submitting, analyzing, approving, and managing changes throughout the project lifecycle? A. Scope baseline. B. Communication management plan. C. Change management plan. D. Risk management plan. Answer: C. Change management plan. The change management plan is the project document that precisely describes how changes to the project will be formally managed and controlled. It outlines the processes for requesting changes, analyzing their impact, approving or rejecting them, and implementing and communicating approved changes. This plan defines the Change Control Board, CCB, structure, roles, and responsibilities, ensuring a consistent and controlled approach to handling all project modifications. Always remember that the change management plan sets the rules for how changes are handled. Question 15. A project is nearing completion, and a key stakeholder asks for a minor aesthetic change to the user interface. This change was not part of the original scope and has no impact on functionality or cost. What is the most appropriate action in a traditional project management setting? A. Implement the change immediately as it is minor and the project is almost complete. B. Inform the stakeholder that no more changes are allowed at this late stage. C. Submit a formal change request for the Change Control Board's review. D. Add the change to a lessons learned document for future projects. Answer: C. Submit a formal change request for the Change Control Board's review. In traditional project management, all changes to the approved scope, regardless of how minor they seem, should ideally go through the formal integrated change control process. This means submitting a change request to the Change Control Board, CCB, for review. While it might be a small aesthetic change, bypassing the process sets a precedent and undermines change control. The CCB can then formally approve or reject it based on criteria, ensuring all changes are documented and managed consistently. Always adhere to the defined change control process, even for seemingly minor requests. Question 16. In an Agile project, when a new requirement is identified and prioritized, it is typically added to which artifact? A. Project management plan. B. Product backlog. C. Sprint backlog. D. Requirements traceability matrix. Answer: B. Product backlog. In an Agile project, when a new requirement, feature, or change is identified, it is typically added to the product backlog. The product backlog serves as a prioritized list of all known work for the product, maintained by the product owner. This ensures that new requirements are visible, can be prioritized against existing items based on value, and are considered for inclusion in future sprints, maintaining flexibility without disrupting ongoing work. The product backlog is the living repository of all potential future work for the product. Question 17. The project manager is reviewing the project performance and notices that the team is consistently delivering features ahead of schedule. To ensure future performance alignment with the baseline, what type of change request might be considered to proactively adjust future activities? A. Defect repair. B. Corrective action. C. Preventive action. D. Scope change. Answer: C. Preventive action. A preventive action is a type of change request or action taken to reduce the probability or impact of a potential future negative deviation from the project management plan. In this scenario, being consistently ahead of schedule could lead to resource strain or a loss of focus later on. A preventive action might involve adjusting resource allocation or planning for future activities to maintain a sustainable pace and ensure future performance aligns with the baseline, preventing potential issues down the line. Think of preventive actions as anticipating and heading off problems before they occur. Question 18. What is the primary benefit of maintaining baselines, scope, schedule, cost, in a project? A. To ensure all project documents are updated daily. B. To measure and manage project performance against an approved plan. C. To provide a communication channel for all stakeholders. D. To define the project team's roles and responsibilities. Answer: B. To measure and manage project performance against an approved plan. The primary benefit of maintaining baselines for scope, schedule, and cost is to establish approved performance measurement points against which actual project performance can be measured and compared. These baselines act as fixed reference points, allowing the project manager to identify deviations, assess project health, and determine if corrective or preventive actions, often involving formal change requests, are needed to bring the project back on track. Baselines are your project's anchor points for performance tracking. Question Question 19. A key characteristic of Agile approaches regarding change is: A. Changes are strictly prohibited once the project begins. B. Changes are only allowed at major project milestones. C. Changes are embraced and expected throughout the project lifecycle. D. All changes must be approved by a high-level change control board. Answer: C. Changes are embraced and expected throughout the project lifecycle. A fundamental characteristic of Agile approaches is their explicit embrace of change. Agile methodologies recognize that requirements can evolve as understanding deepens and market conditions shift, so they are designed to be adaptive and flexible. Changes are not only allowed but expected and welcomed at any point, with mechanisms like the product backlog and frequent feedback loops facilitating their integration. This contrasts sharply with traditional approaches that often try to minimize change once planning is complete. Embrace change as an opportunity for continuous improvement in Agile projects. Question 20. The project manager has received an approved change request to add a new feature. Before the team can begin implementing this new feature, what must be updated? A. Only the project manager's personal to-do list. B. The relevant project management plan components and project documents. C. The project charter, as it's a foundational document. D. The risk register, as all changes introduce new risks. Answer: B. The relevant project management plan components and project documents. Once a change request is approved, it becomes official, and the project manager must ensure that all relevant project management plan components and project documents are updated to reflect the new approved state. This includes, for example, the scope baseline, requirements documentation, schedule baseline, and cost baseline, as well as operational procedures. Updating these documents ensures that the project team and stakeholders are working from the most current and accurate version of the project plan. Remember, an approved change triggers necessary updates to keep your project documentation accurate. Question 21. Which of the following best describes the concept of configuration management in the context of managing project changes? A. The process of aligning project objectives with organizational strategy. B. A system to manage and control product and project documentation. C. The process of managing change requests through a formal board. D. A method for configuring project software tools. Answer: B. A system to manage and control product and project documentation. Configuration management is a system or process that helps manage and control the evolving product, service, or result components as well as the project documentation. It includes establishing baselines, controlling changes to those baselines, and maintaining integrity and traceability of the work products throughout the project lifecycle. It's about ensuring consistency and control over the versions of deliverables and documentation, helping to prevent unauthorized changes and providing a clear record of modifications. Think of configuration management as ensuring everyone is always working with the correct and most current version of everything. Question 22. A project manager is reviewing a proposed change request and determines it will significantly increase the project's overall risk. What is the most important action for the project manager to take regarding this risk? A. Dismiss the change request due to the increased risk. B. Update the risk register with the identified new risks and their potential impact. C. Accept the risk, as change is inevitable in projects. D. Inform the change control board only after the change has been implemented. Answer: B. Update the risk register with the identified new risks and their potential impact. When a proposed change introduces new risks or significantly alters existing ones, the project manager must update the risk register. This involves identifying the new risks, analyzing their probability and impact, and developing appropriate risk responses. This critical information must then be presented to the Change Control Board along with the change request, allowing them to make an informed decision that considers the complete risk profile of the proposed change. Always integrate risk analysis into your change management process. Changes often bring new risks. Question 23. An approved change request has been executed, leading to an updated scope and schedule. What critical step must the project manager perform to ensure project control going forward? A. Discard the old baselines as they are no longer relevant. B. Re-baseline the affected scope and schedule baselines. C. Immediately begin planning for the next change request. D. Conduct a final performance review of the project. Answer: B. Re-baseline the affected scope and schedule baselines. Once an approved change request results in significant alterations to the project scope, schedule, or cost, it is crucial to re-baseline the affected baselines. Re-baselining means formally adjusting the original approved baselines to reflect the new, approved scope and schedule. This ensures that future performance measurements and controls are based on the updated plan, allowing for accurate tracking and management of the project's progress against its current approved objectives. Baselining is a formal act that updates the project's official starting points for future measurement. Question 24. What is the primary purpose of an integrated change control process in project management? A. To ensure that all project team members approve changes. B. To monitor project progress and identify any deviations from the plan. C. To review all change requests and manage changes to baselines, policies, and documents. D. To communicate project status to stakeholders regularly. Answer: C. To review all change requests and manage changes to baselines, policies, and documents. The primary purpose of the integrated change control process is to comprehensively review all change requests, analyze their potential impact on project baselines and other areas, and then manage the approval or rejection of these changes. This process ensures that changes are coordinated across all aspects of the project, preventing unauthorized alterations, maintaining the integrity of the project plan, and providing a systematic approach to evolving the project's scope, schedule, and cost. It's the central hub for all official project modifications. Question 25. In an Agile project, if a stakeholder frequently requests changes to features already under development within the current sprint, what is the best approach for the product owner to handle this? A. Immediately update the sprint backlog with the new requests. B. Tell the stakeholder that changes are not allowed during a sprint. C. Discuss the new requests and their impact with the stakeholder, then add them to the product backlog for future prioritization. D. Call an emergency meeting with the entire team to replan the sprint. Answer: C. Discuss the new requests and their impact with the stakeholder, then add them to the product backlog for future prioritization. In Agile, while changes are welcomed, they are generally not introduced directly into an ongoing sprint to protect the sprint goal and team stability. If a stakeholder requests changes to features already in development, the product owner should discuss the implications and impact of these new requests with the stakeholder. The most appropriate action is then to add these new or modified requirements to the product backlog, where they can be prioritized and considered for future sprints, ensuring the current sprint's focus remains undisturbed. Maintain sprint stability by funneling new requests into the product backlog for later prioritization.